Hello everyone, my name is Jordan, also known as DJ Coldcut, and I am the coach of the Liaoning Flying Liepards. So this is the first video I've ever made, and I thought it would be fun to kind of showcase this team that I drafted for the Premier Draft League. This is a league that I joined partway through the season, last season, and I actually was able to take a team that I thought was pretty good but had some pretty big flaws and take it all the way to the championship and win. So I'm really excited at this opportunity to start at the beginning of the league and draft a team that kind of fits what I was going for, and to see how my draft skills translate into victories as well. So I'm just going to jump right into it, kind of showcase my team. So I had the wheel pick of a 16-person draft, and we were allowed to draft 10 Pokemon. There was an S tier, and then tier 1 through 5, and then 4 extra slots for with 240 points, and each tier had a certain amount of points assigned to it. So one of the first things I noticed about this, the tiers, where there were some extremely high value Pokemon that I think based on where they were in the like OU, UU, and NU and all that stuff metagame, that overperform in Draft League. And so I decided to really target those mons that I consider to be high value, top tier draft mons, and kind of exploit the tiering that was kind of going on. Some of the standouts of Pokemon that I didn't draft that I thought were extremely undervalued were things like a tier 1 Celesteela instead of a S tier Celesteela, and a tier 4 Sylveon instead of a probably tier 1 or tier 2 Sylveon, in my opinion. I actually used Sylveon last season. It was already on my team when I joined, so I was actually quite happy to have something of that value and that quality. So to kind of start things off, I was just going, what has value? What is a mon that I haven't really used before? And there were 2 mons that I saw immediately that I thought had decent synergy with each other that I thought were both incredibly undervalued. And the first Pokemon I drafted was Jirachi. Jirachi was a tier 2 Pokemon. I've seen it put in so much work in so many different ways. It's one of the most versatile mons out there. Being able to set up specially, but also to be able to para-flinch you down with access to Body Slam and Thunder Wave. It even has access to Wish, so it can be perfectly suitable as a pure support mon with Stealth Rocks as well. It just does a lot of things for me, and I was super excited to get it where I was. And I had the wheel pick, so I also, I was near the wheel, sorry, I didn't have the wheel, that was in another draft league. And with my second pick, I was able to pick up Zarude. Zarude was a tier 4 Pokemon, and when I saw that it was tier 4, I knew I always wanted to try it out, and and I thought this was a perfect time to do it. I think Zarude and Jirachi pair really, really well together. They both have above average to good speed. Zarude, and they both have access to U-turn. Zarude covers Jirachi's Earth weakness really, really well. And Jirachi covers a bunch of other weaknesses for Zarude, and other than the fire weakness combined, they both do really well together. With the third pick, I was really setting my eyes on some other mons, and I was actually going to avoid taking an S tier mon until much later in the draft, because I thought that I would be able to get some sort of value as long as there weren't like 5 mons available in the S tier, and one of the mons that I thought was amazing ended up being there, and it's Tornadus T. Tornadus T is, I think most people would consider at the very least a top 5 mon in draft league, period. And in my opinion, I think it's a top 3 mon. Access to Regenerator just makes it incredibly annoying, and it can do basically anything you want it to, whether that be support, nasty plot, anything like that. And it's I needed at least one mon with a top tier speed, and Tornadus T had access to it. Near my fourth pick in the draft, I was eyeing a lot of different things, and some of my value mons were starting to get kind of taken, which I totally expected to happen. And I was like, okay, I need to get a bulky water because a lot of the bulky waters were gone, and Suicune kind of fell into my lap. And from what I remember, I'm pretty sure Suicune was a tier 3, which I thought was unbelievable. Suicune is one of the scariest setup sweepers of all time. It has unreal levels of bulk, and I almost lost to it multiple times in my finals match. So I was really happy to get access to it, and while it doesn't do, and it's an excellent hazer and a phaser as well, and while it doesn't have a bunch of utility, it is just a major threat to a team and is a defensive check to so many different things. And then sweeping back into value, Arcanine was also tier 4. And so there were some really good fire types available, but they were higher tiered. And I personally think Arcanine is also like a tier 2 or a tier 1 level quality of mon because of its access to 2 amazing abilities in Flash Fire and Intimidate, and also the access to recovery in Morning Sun, and excellent priority with extreme speed, and also teleport. So it can be offensive, or with a scarf or a choice band or choice specs, or it can be an excellent defensive check to a lot of different mons, especially with the introduction of heavy duty boots in this most recent gen. So Arcanine I saw was one that I definitely wanted, especially because it perfectly covers Zarude's and Jirachi's fire weakness, and if I feel like I don't need to run Intimidate, running Flash Fire just makes it even more potent. At that point I was like thinking about what fairy mon I wanted to pair with Jirachi, and again, Weezing Galar was, I believe, tier 4 as well, and I am a huge fan of poison types in Draft League. I think it's actually probably a top 6 type that you should draft, particularly grounded poisons, and Weezing can do either. It has basically 3 fantastic abilities in my opinion, being Levitate, Misty Surge, and I forget the name of the other ability that kind of cancels out other abilities. I forget the name of it at the top of my head. But Weezing's typing is amazing. It synergizes fantastically with Jirachi and Arcanine, and having access to Levitate. It also has Misty Surge, so it can pair excellently with mons like Hippowdon or Bisharp when they're trying to set up sweep, and it does so much work. It has access to T spikes and defog, and it has pretty decent stab, and it can do some decent damage if I need to have it bring Thunderbolt or a poison stab or fairy stab. I really like Weezing Galar. I used it in another league on a rain team, and it worked out decently well, and so I'm excited to bring it back and to be even more of a supportive role because I have so many high power mons on this team. With the next pick, I was really thinking about getting Goodra, because I really wanted a dragon type to pair with my fairy and my steel, and that Goodra's special bulk was absolutely amazing, but I decided to skip on that a bit and go for Vikavolt, which was a tier 5 Pokemon, and I think Vikavolt is probably the best sticky web setter in the game. I love Araquanid, but I love Araquanid for its offensive capabilities more so than just running sticky webs on it, and the versatility of running Scald or Liquidation. Vikavolt has fantastic bulk, it has recovery, it has U-turn, and it has sticky webs, and it has a monstrous special attack that you don't need to invest too much in to get the chip or the damage that you need for it. It's one of my favorites, with another Levitate Mon, again to completely neutralize Jirachi's weakness to ground, and I think it just puts in so much work. I was super pumped to get it, and when the pick got back to me, Goodra was taken, so I decided to go with a mon that I always wanted to use. I don't think it's the most value mon in the tier that it was in, technically, but I think it has excellent synergy with my team and can put in a lot of work, and that's Dredagon. Dredagon has Mold Breaker Stealth Rocks, it has Glare, and Glare and Sticky Webs work so well with Jirachi. It's insane. I'm super excited to just flinch people to death with Jirachi at some point in the season. And Dredagon just has so much different coverage options as well, and he can also be a nice physically defensive check with a rough skin and a rocky helmet. And I have Jirachi as a wish passer as well, so I think it works really well. At this point in the draft, I was kind of struggling. I really wanted Mamoswine, but the same person who drafted Gudra ended up getting Mamoswine as well. And I was pretty bummed about that. So I was running out of options for good grounds, and because I selected Vikavolt as my tier 5, I missed out on mons like Golurk and Palosand. So I decided to go with the tier 1 Hippowdon, mainly because I didn't have a tier 1 mon yet and I needed a ground type, and I think Hippowdon is really good on its own, even if it's not on a designated Sandstorm team. Stealth Rocks, Earthquake, Slack Off, Toxic is just basically all you need on it, and it can do quite a few other things, and I'm really excited to see how versatile I can play around with it. And then with my last slot, I was trying to find a value mon who could put a lot of pressure on the team, could cover for my ice, like borderline ice issues, and I felt like there was another type I was relatively weak to. And I think one of the types that you can easily draft 2 mons of are Steel and Water. And I feel like Bisharp does completely different things than Jirachi, and I think it's a very scary mon. And so if I'm setting up T-Spikes, if I'm setting up Webs, if I'm setting up Stealth Rocks, Bisharp is a fantastic mon to bring to completely punish the defoggers in the league. I think I have enough fighting type counters and ground type counters to completely cover for Bisharp's weaknesses, and I've never really used Bisharp before, and so I'm super excited to use it. Generally, I think this team is one of the best teams I ever drafted, and that is mainly because of me exploiting what I thought was flaws in the tiering. I think the speed tiers are okay. I like everything from Zarude down to kind of Weezing. I felt like I'm a little on the slower end, but I think these mons do an excellent job, and Vikavolt can kind of cover over some speed issues because of its ability to have sticky webs, and hopefully Tornadus T will just be fast enough that I won't even have to run Timid or Jolly in certain matches, and I can just run Modest or Adamant if need be. So this is my team. I'm really happy with it. I think I'm going to put in a lot of work. I do worry that maybe I don't have as much pivoting as I normally prefer. I prefer like having like 7 mons that can pivot, but having access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mons with pivoting is pretty good, especially on a team with only 10 mons. And I'm really looking forward to hopefully defending my title and winning another championship. Hope you guys have a great day. I enjoyed making this video, and I hope to make some more videos in the future. Bye.